Hi, everybody. It's great to see you. Always, as usual, an honor to be here tonight. As you all know, I've had the privilege to host this evening of Aloha many times, and each one always leaves me deeply moved and inspired. I've learned so much from this event, from the families, from all of you, so it's wonderful to be here again. So for those of you who are longtime supporters, you understand what I mean, and for those of you that are joining us for the first time, we want to say welcome and get ready to have a truly amazing experience. This evening of Aloha Gala is the once-a-year opportunity to collectively honor over 33,000 Japanese American soldiers who valiantly served during World War II. Their story is amazing. With over 500 in attendance this evening, it is a testament to how their story is an important American story. And we can't stress that enough. An American story. And as the most trusted, authentic resource on the Nisei Soldier's story, Go for Broke National Education Center remains focused on deepening the quality, impact, and outreach of our programming. And we aim to ensure that future generations will be able to learn about their courage, their service, their sacrifice. This gala is also our primary fundraiser of the year. And you know how important that is. That provides vital funding for our educational program and our outreach as well. So I want to first thank our generous sponsors, auction donors, and guests. But I also want to mention that if you could give more tonight, it would help us end the year in a much stronger position. Now, on your tables, you will find envelopes to contribute to our annual fund, the future campaign launching at our gala tonight. And we are just over 50% of tonight's campaign goal, which is $100,000. So thank you for getting us this far, and thank you for eventually getting us there. Now, a couple of other housing notes. Please be sure to take our thank you gift. It's a plantable seed ornament. It's on your table. Instructions are on the back of your program. So it's our thanks for planting seeds for the future with us and grow some wildflowers, but it's all symbolic. Plant those seeds and grow. So if you want to get a jump on our holiday shopping, be sure to stop by the Go for Broke store in the lobby. We have new items available today, including a gift bundle exclusive for tonight's gala guests. Let us know does now officially begin with the Hallmark evening. So the event that we kick off with is the traditional posting of the colors by members of the 100th Battalion, 442nd Infantry Regiment Honor Guard from Hawaii. The battalion is the only combat-ready infantry unit of the United States Army Reserves. The unit has been deployed to the Philippines, Afghanistan, and twice to Iraq, and it was awarded the Meritorious Unit Citation with oak leaf clusters. The members proudly wear the 442nd shoulder insignia, and they carry on the legacy of the Japanese American soldiers of World War II. And this year, we are joined by Honor Guard members, Sergeant Leland MacArthur, Specialist Lanson Mundina, Specialist Clayton Payson, and Specialist Vanessa Tolosa. Please stand if you are able while the Honor Guard posts the colors and then remain standing for the national anthem, which will be performed by the talented Lauren Kincaid Wall. Please stand.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous
Hoist the colors. Now, our connection to Hawaii, they're important to us. So we appreciate the color guard, the members flying over to be part of this event. And thank you also to the fabulous Lauren Kincaid for bringing her beautiful voice to our gala, one of our most treasured voices out there, and including one of our most treasured gala traditions as a veteran on-stage roll call. And with us tonight are 3 veterans who are here to represent their fellow soldiers that did not come home. We want to take a moment to recognize one of our veterans, Yoshi Nakamura, who turned 100 this past June, has been a constant participant at almost all of our past galas, programs, and other special events. He also has made hundreds of public appearances over the past few decades because he knew he had to stand up for his fellow Nisei World War II veterans. And we appreciate Yoshi's family for being here. We extend our deepest thanks to Yoshi for his service during and after the war. We wish him the very best in his recovery. He is invaluable to us. But a huge applause for Yoshi Nakamura. He will be back. Our first veteran with us today is Edward Nakamura, and he is escorted by his friend George J. Tanaka, Gopher Brook Board of Director Nikki Kodama, Torchbearer Akemi Tsutsui, and Honor Guard member Sergeant Leland MacArthur. Edward Nakamura served in the Military Intelligence Service as a Staff Sergeant T3 in post-war Japan, where he proudly earned his wings as part of the 11th Airborne Division, 188th Parachute Division in Sendai, Japan. And while his family was incarcerated at Minidoka concentration camp, Ed attended high school in Weiser, Idaho, after joining his older brother, who was working on a dairy farm. A talented athlete, he was a popular star basketball player and was warmly received by his classmates. Drafted at just 18 years old, Ed recalls receiving a warm send-off by the high school marching band as his train departed for basic training. A graduate of UCLA, he worked at Hughes Aircraft Company for 37 years in their finance department, and then at the age of 100, he continues his service with active public appearances throughout the year. He also enjoys gardening and watching all sports from the Lakers, the Clippers, the Dodgers, the Rams, and the Chargers. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ed Nakamura. Also with us this evening is veteran Tokuji Tok Yoshihashi, who was escorted by his daughter, Pauline Yoshihashi, Gopher Brook Board of Director George Tanaka, Torchbearer Kendall Kunitake, and Honor Guard member specialist Lanson Mondina and Clayton Payson. So during the war, Tokuji Tok Yoshihashi was a member of the 10442nd Regimental Combat Team as a technical sergeant. He would earn 2 Bronze Star medals, the Sharpshooter's Medal, Congressional Gold Medal, Presidential Unit Citation, and France's Legion of Honor. Toke was drafted out of the Gila River concentration camp in Arizona, and after basic training, he boarded the Queen Mary that joined the famed 100th Infantry Battalion A Company in Epinal, France. Despite facing heavy combat, he fondly recalls the excitement of participating in the march down Constitution Avenue on June 1946 before President Harry Truman. Toke retired from the Department of Water and Power at the age of 102. He enjoys watching, again, Shohei and the Dodgers, tending to his hummingbirds, all of his cats, and spending time with his family. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Toke Yoshihashi. And back for her second evening of Aloha appearance tonight is veteran Mary Tomura, who is escorted by her daughter, Barbara Tomura, Gopher Brook Board of Director Kim Tachiki Chin, Torchbearer Melanie Ramirez, and Honor Guard member Specialist Vanessa Tolosa. While incarcerated at Gila River concentration camp in Arizona, Mary worked as a nurse's aide at the camp hospital. And like other women eager to prove their loyalty, she was accepted into St. Mary's School of Nursing in Rochester, Minnesota as part of the U.S. Armed Forces Cadet Nurse Corps program. Out of 50 women, she and 5 of the Nisei women studied and trained rigorously. And after the war, Mrs. Tomura met her husband, Robert, a talented artist and MIS veteran, and then she would earn her BA in nursing at San Francisco State. And she has continued her love of service and helping people to this day. So tonight, in her second evening of Aloha appearance on stage, and at the age of 101 years old, she proudly represents the nearly 500 Japanese American women who served in the Women's Army Corps, Army Nurse Corps, and Cadet Nurse Corps. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Mary Tomura. So Ed Nakamura, Toke Yoshihashi, Mary Tomura, our heroes, and thank you all for being with us today. Thank you. At this point, I would like to now introduce Mr. George Tanaka, Chair of the Go for Broke National Education Center's Board of Directors. And by the way, you may be seated. Thank you so much. Please welcome George.
Hello. Hey, everybody. Very fancy here. I had to get mic'd up. So anyway, sorry for the delay. Thanks, David. I want to also express my gratitude to Ed, Toke, and Mary. I'm so happy and honored they could join us. And the high level of energy that they have brought to this evening is just amazing. So thank you, guys. I know they're making their way back around. Good evening. As the new board chair, I'm super excited at the opportunity to continue to work to position Go for Broke National Education Center for its future growth and sustainability. I want to thank the generous support of our gala major sponsors, U.S. Bank, my employers, make a lot of noise, MUFG Bank, I think you guys are right there, my former employers, Bill and Christy Secchi and Lorraine and Dennis Kimura, my friends, where are they? The Shinto family, I think I saw them right there, my new friends, and the Sugimoto Family Foundation, all of our friends. It's not lost on any of us that we couldn't hold a gala like this without you. We sincerely appreciate your steadfast support, and I want to thank all of you who are here tonight. So let's give our sponsors another round of applause. You know, this year we've been Sorry. This year we have been met with unexpected challenges, from decreased revenue streams to divisive civic dialogue and threats to our Constitution. But what's happening now only validates the need for our work. My hope is that by the end of this evening, you all will aim to embody the valor and character of our Nisei veterans. We are in unprecedented times that require all Americans to come together so that the future generations can learn about our multifaceted history and the lessons of democracy, social justice, and equality. I remain hopeful as I see this ballroom filled with not only veterans and their families, but others who also believe that this history should always be remembered. We thank you for your shared commitment. But we can't do this alone, and each and every one of you are a vibrant part of our future. Another key to our future success is through our board. And I'd like to ask all of our current members of our board in attendance tonight to please stand and be recognized as I call your names. Vice Chair, Jeffrey Maloney. That's right. Board members, Nikki Kadama, Kendra Motoyasu, Rick Shinto, and Stacy Toji. Chef Roy Yamaguchi, who is working very hard in the kitchen in the back. And of course, David Ono, who is working very hard up on stage. Let me also take a moment to recognize former board chair, Bill Secchi. Bill, could you please also stand? I am honored to work with all of you, and thank you for your guidance, your wisdom, and your visionary leadership. You know, at the core of our mission and our work is remembering what these soldiers did to protect our Constitution. While the 14442nd was the most decorated unit for its size to this day, it also had a high casualty rate. So we must not forget that many of them gave the ultimate sacrifice and did not come home. We have lost too many others over the past decades since the war has ended. With their memory in mind, it is my privilege to direct your attention to the missing soldiers table, right here in front of the stage. The table is round to show our everlasting concern for our fallen and missing. The white tablecloth symbolizes the purity of their intentions to respond to their country's call to arms. The single red rose reminds us of the life of each of our fallen. The vase is tied with a red ribbon as a symbol of our commitment to remembering our fallen. The slice of lemon on the plate reminds us of the bitter fate of those who did not return. The inverted wine glasses because they cannot toast with us at this time. The empty chairs because they are no longer with us. And a pinch of salt symbolizes the tears endured by the friends and families of those who have fallen. I ask you at this time to please raise your glass with me and toast in honor of their ultimate sacrifice. Cheers. Thank you. And at this time, we'd like to recognize all of the military veterans who are present here tonight. All veterans of our military services, please stand and be recognized. And will all currently serving personnel please also stand and be recognized. And will all current and past first responders please stand and be recognized? Thank you. We are all humbled and grateful for your service to our great country. Thank you all for answering the call, protecting our nation, and preserving our democracy. Thank you.
At this time, we will recognize the World War II veterans who have passed away since our last gala. This is one of the toughest part of the evening. To help with this tribute, Stacy Kanani Toji from the Halau Hula Keali'i Onalani will be performing for us. So please welcome Stacy.
Aloha oi, aloha oi, till we meet again. Aloha oi, aloha oi, eke ona ona oho ikali. One fond embrace, ahoy, until we meet again. Aheo kauai napali, kini ahela ikana hele, ehahai anapaha ikaliko, puahai hihirhua o kauka. Aloha oi, aloha oi, eke ona ona oho ikalipo. One fond embrace, ahoy, until we meet again. Until we meet again.
Stacy, thank you so much. That was a beautiful tribute to our veterans. Another favorite gala tradition reminds us that we are blessed to have a good number of World War II veterans still living among us. So here to introduce the 6th annual Living Nisei Veteran World War II Photo Tribute is Board Director, Mr. Rick Shinto.
Good evening. Although this is not my first evening of Aloha Gala, it's my first as a member of the board. For me, this gala represents a promise that my father and uncles made, not only to their country, but to us. A promise to ensure that the story of the 442nd, the ultimate story of courage and sacrifice, would never be forgotten. Many of you here tonight are like me, a Japanese American third-generation Sansei. We grew up with our fathers and uncles who came from World War II and never spoke of what they did. They carried their courage quietly, tucked deep inside. Their silence was not out of shame, but from a humility that defined their generation. It is now our duty, our sacred honor, to break that silence. And we must just remember their story. We must keep it, and we must keep it alive and make it relevant. And so tonight, it is my honor to carry that story forward. The 2025 Living Nisei World War II Veteran Photo Tribute reminds us of everything they gave. Introduced 5 years ago, this has become a truly heartwarming feature of our gala. This is not just a collection of photographs. It is a tribute to the enduring youth and unyielding fortitude of the veterans who are still with us. This is our promise to them. This year's tribute includes 34 Nisei veterans from 5 states, 6 veterans at 99 years of age, 7 at 100, 7 other veterans at 101 years of age, 5 veterans at 102 years of age, 4 at 103, and 1 veteran who is 105 years of age. Please enjoy this special tribute.
What a beautiful tribute, and 105 years old, it's unbelievable. You know, we hear from their families that the veterans remain active and healthy, which is so amazing, and perhaps they're setting an example for the rest of us. Now, our founding veteran, under the fierce and focused leadership of Colonel Young-O Kim, understood something profound. They knew that if their story of patriotism in a time of deep suspicion was to endure, it was up to them to make it happen. They built this organization with the same unwavering purpose with which they stormed the battlefield. They built it with that legendary, tenacious, go-for-broke spirit. And that's the spirit that we continue to embody in our own work every day. So 2025 has been a busy year, and staff have been meeting, engaging, and sharing with supporters and others from all backgrounds and all regions. So let's take a look at how we are specifically bringing this story across the nation.
Hi, I'm Wal Lee, and I'm the Manager of Programs and Education at Go for Broke National Education Center. My story with Go for Broke actually started 10 years ago, back when I was in high school. I was a summer intern during the opening of our Defining Courage exhibit, and that experience changed everything for me. I learned that this is an American story.
Rarely has a nation been so well served by a people it had so ill-treated.
And as a Korean American, I saw so much of myself in it. A few years later, I became a torchbearer at our very first national convening.
As a teacher, I used the seminal film Princess Diaries, and the King of Genovia always says that courage is not the absence of fear, but the judgment that something is more important than fear.
And now, I have the privilege of being a staff member, giving back to the very programs that helped shape who I am today. This past year has been an incredibly busy one for us, but also a year of touching the future and fulfilling promises to the past. Through it all, our commitment to preserving the World War II Nisei veteran story and using it to inspire future generations has remained the guiding light for everything we do. Instead of me just telling you about it, let me show you. And the best place to start is with our new building. We broke ground in February 2024 on our new building that is embracing the monument.
If my father and his friends were here today, they would be so proud.
And in just 20 months, our building project has gone from this to this.
It's unbelievable what this is going to represent. This is going to be the backbone for the future of Little Tokyo.
This July, we held a beam signing ceremony where veterans, descendants, and supporters all signed their names on the final beam before it was lifted into place.
You will never see it again, but you will know in your mind that your signature is a part of this building.
It was very symbolic for us to sign the beam because it shows what it is to be a part of a legacy.
To commemorate the Nisei soldiers.
Be a big part of keeping that story going.
No longer will our monument sit alone in a parking lot. It'll be surrounded by legacy J-Town restaurants and businesses, 248 affordable housing units for veterans and families, and 10,000 square feet of new space for Go for Broke National Education Center. It's gonna bring new life and energy into Little Tokyo, and it means the monument, our hidden gem, will finally be on display for the whole world.
This site was going to be the center of attention coming from City Hall and then looking south to Little Tokyo and to the rest of LA.
And if the world can't come to us, we will bring the story of the Nisei veterans to them.
Courage and Compassion is a national traveling exhibition with text panels, poignant photos, and heart-wrenching stories.
Every exhibition is unique as each community highlights its own local heroes. Earlier this year, Courage and Compassion wrapped up an 11-month run at the Idaho State Museum in Boise.
What we did in this particular venue is to really dig into the history of local Japanese Americans in the state of Idaho. They were affected in a variety of ways that were different than the Japanese Americans on the West Coast.
We didn't go to camp. We were volunteer evacuees.
The farmers were in need of sugar beet thinning, topping, picking out potatoes and so forth. So they helped the farmers a lot.
The day I left, the entire high school band came to railroad station, and gave me a good, fare send-off.
The story of Eddie Ogawa in Lava Hot Springs really helps to paint the picture of the Japanese American community in Idaho come to the fore during World War II in really remarkable and sometimes tragic but very heartfelt ways.
He was in France at the Battle of the Rescue of the Lost Battalion, where he was killed in action. He received a Silver Star for his bravery on that day, and his body is buried in a local cemetery in Lava Hot Springs, Idaho. Along with the exhibition, we delivered presentations at Boise's Day of Remembrance and at the Wasmuth Human Rights Organization. It has been amazing to see the evolution of Go for Broke's successful pivot to new online programming, sharing stories around the table, Heroes Among Us, Living the Nisei Dream, and our virtual Monument Anniversary shows have garnered over 1 million views.
It's our turn. Like, we gotta raise up, we gotta represent, we gotta be like, yo, like, what's the point of learning history if we're not actually learning from it?
We completed our 4th annual Go for Broke Journalism Institute. As in past years, our students received first-class journalism instruction and mentorship from professional journalists from the LA Times, KABC TV, NPR, and even our own David Ono.
The program was actually good to learn about all the different aspects of journalism and history and how they can be incorporated to modern day.
I didn't even know about the incarceration camps or anything, so this program informed me of a lot of new knowledge.
I have a very big passion, right, of history, but very little for writing. So it was interesting seeing that I got a spark to write.
My project is about Sadao Munamuri, who sacrificed his life for his 2 comrades. And I would like to connect that with my mom and all the sacrifices that she has made for me to give me a better life.
This year, we expanded the journalism program through a Veterans Affairs grant, which funded 4 UCLA interns to research 24 Japanese American soldiers of World War II who are buried at Los Angeles National Cemetery. Our high school students gave their own tributes to the veterans by placing roses and American flags on their headstones.
It means a lot to me personally, just as a Filipino American, especially because my grandfather served in World War II in the Philippines alongside the United States Army. And he was given a Congressional Gold Medal a couple years ago before he passed.
If you were able to speak to the Japanese American vets, what would you say to them?
Thank you, like from the bottom of the heart. They open an opportunity for us.
No words can describe how grateful I am for them.
We really do love this country and we show a lot of pride and loyalty to it. Not only just by serving, but wanting to stay in America shows how loyal we are.
1, 2, 3,
Go for Broke! Our Torchbearer program continues to grow across the nation with partner organizations in Maui, Oahu, San Francisco, Denver, Chicago, and Vermont. Our national and regional convenings continue to inspire young adults to emulate the courage and service of our Nisei veterans and apply them to contemporary issues.
The cool thing about Torchbearers, it's people from all walks of life. Some people are not Asian, some people are not even of Japanese descent.
My name is Rafael. I have a friend who has a family relative here, so if it's important to her, it's important to me pretty much. And then I went to the museum the other day with her as well. It's one of those things where it's you don't really hear about too often in school.
Going back to my mom and just telling her Mom, did you know this and this happened and this happened? And she was like, what?
People who have different connections to the Nisei veteran story and really get to feel that Nisei vet spirit.
This year, our LA Torchbearers, in collaboration with King's Hawaiian Restaurant, raised money for fire relief efforts in the Altadena area. Great food, delicious desserts.
Favorite King's Hawaiian dessert, the dobosh cake. I will literally die for it.
Paradise cake.
The Lily Clay crunch cake.
I usually get about 3 when I go out.
And the world famous Last Samurai Musubi eating contest were all a part of our Torchbearers' way of supporting community. From podcasts.
We've had you locked up, and after a year, we're going to come bang on the cells. Hey, we need you to come defend. You can't erase it. It needs to be taught.
But the real impact isn't in how many people hear the story, it's in how people carry it forward.
Getting younger generations involved and interested so that people that I will never meet far down the line from me will know the stories of these Nisei veterans. That's really cool.
Because what might sound like an 80-year-old story is really timeless.
As 10,000 young boys
from the islands volunteered to serve, I thought, well, rather than prove my loyalty, I'll show my patriotism.
It's kind of like history just repeating itself. Wanting to be American back then and wanting to be American now, and I think that's really sad. It reminds us that courage, commitment, and service are what keeps America's promise alive. The promise that in our nation, no one is to be judged by the color of one's skin, the nation of one's origins, or the faith that one chooses to keep.
There's no greater sacrifice that you can give to building a nation of democratic society than to put your own life on the line.
For us, it really is that telling of that next chapter. You know, we have another generation on the way.
My great uncle receiving the Medal of Honor has really made me reflect.
The legacy that we work with and the stories that we work with are always looking towards a better future.
They had a gaman, like they say. They kind of instilled it in us to be strong.
We can honor those who came before us and really continue to build up the community.
This project says to the rest of the world, we're not going away. We're going to maintain our community just as our Issei ancestors and our Nisei ancestors did.
From our torchbearers to our journalism students to every visitor who comes to our exhibit, Go for Broke National Education Center is making sure the Nisei Veterans legacy lives on.
We have accomplished something very few people have to prove to the United States government, that we were Americans.
It helps me understand that I'm part of something bigger, especially during this time, and make it relevant for people my age. For me, that legacy has been personal. The torch has been lit inside me, and now it's my responsibility to pass it on to future generations.
It's an American story, because these people were Americans.
Thank you for being such an important part of this mission.
We've had a busy year. My name is Melanie Ramirez, and I have been a Go for Broke National Torchbearer since 2023. And now I have the honor of serving as the regional chair of the Los Angeles Torchbearers. Woo! Shout out Torchbearers! I want to thank you all for being here tonight. And later in the evening, you're going to hear about all of the amazing things that the Torchbearers are doing. But I want to take this opportunity to talk about what an impact the Torchbearers has made on my life. When I first joined the Torchbearers, I knew a little bit about the incarceration camps, and I had heard about the Japanese American soldiers. And while I only knew a little bit, I knew it was an important story. But I had always thought of it as a Japanese American story. And as you might not be able to tell, I'm not Japanese American. But being a torchbearer has changed my perspective and my viewpoint. While the heroes in the story were Japanese American, the values that they embodied, the courage that they displayed, and the service that they demonstrated hold lessons for all of us. Prejudice, discrimination, and violations of the law. Our Nisei soldiers faced it all. And as President Truman said, you won. I'm proud to say that I consider the Nisei veteran story of World War II to be a part of my heritage, just as it's an important part of your heritage. Tonight is a fundraiser. If you believe in the vision and the work that we're doing here at Go for Broke National Education Center, I humbly ask that you consider supporting us tonight. On your table, you'll find envelopes for your support. Please, help us spread the word beyond the Japanese American community so that all of America can hear and embrace this story. It's now more important than ever. Thank you so much for being here. Enjoy your dinner.
Welcome back, everybody. I just have to say, was that not an absolutely delicious dinner? One of the most famous parts of this great event is the wonderful food. Usually when you go to big events, you know, you have to lower your expectations, but not here. For Evening of Aloha, it's a different story. As tonight's dinner exceeded expectations as usual, so let me first take a moment to acknowledge the creative talents of Chef Roy Yamaguchi, founder of Roy's Restaurants Worldwide, and member of our board of directors. We are especially grateful to Roy for all of the time that he has given in support of our Nisei veterans, and to make sure that you all have a wonderful meal, from planning the menu, flying in from Hawaii. He flew in early today, and working in the kitchen. So we give a warm mahalo to Roy, and I bet if we all cheer loud enough, he'll hear us back in the kitchen. Roy gives his heart and soul to this organization, so it's really awesome that we have him. Also, working closely with Chef Roy is the Westin Bonaventure culinary team. It's headed by Chef Andreas Nieto, who graciously opened up his kitchen for our event. The Bonaventure Hotel has been a true partner in the planning of our galas for several years, and we thank Peter Zen for his support, along with the dedicated catering staff. In particular, Associate Catering Director Ali Michel for making sure that our event is exceptional. And I also want to acknowledge our longtime friend, Andy Nakano, who works behind the scenes, coordinating with Chef Roy. Andy is not here with us tonight, but I heard from him earlier today, and he was hard at work making sure everything went smoothly. And of course, a dear friend, let's not forget the generous contribution from King's Hawaiian Bakery and Restaurant, one of our favorite families. And tonight, Simply Divine dessert was created by innovation pastry chef Heather Campbell. Did you try that? It was absolutely wonderful. And with a personal selection by Mrs. Tyra. So thank you for the perfect ending to this dinner. Let's give them all a warm round of applause. And to our workers on the floor, they're all such really kind, sweet people. So and thank you for your hard work. So in addition to the many families of Nisei veterans and supporters with us tonight, we want to also recognize the elected officials and special guests in attendance with us today. From the city of Alhambra, council member and board member, Jeff Maloney. Right over here. Our U.S. Congressman, who has legendary uncles in Nisei soldiers, Mr. Mark Takano. Former City of Los Angeles Council member, Miss Jan Perry, my dinner buddy tonight. From the Japanese Consulate, Los Angeles, Consul General Kosei Murota. This is his first time at Evening of Aloha. And Deputy Consul Naoko Kamitani. Thank you so much for being here. And we appreciate all of you for celebrating with us tonight. All right, this is a really wonderful part of the program. Before dinner, we shared the details about our Go for Broke Journalism Institute. At this time, we would like to recognize the 12 downtown business magnet school students who participated in this summer's workshop. Charlene Alvarez, Alan Hain, Haley Hernandez, Ingrid Hernandez, Mohammed Jaber Hossein, Sarah Lee, Jason Liang, Devin Lua, Layla Morales, Noshin Nova, Jovel Reyes, and Samantha Santana. Give them a huge round of applause. I will say, I had the pleasure to work with these bright young students, and it was very inspiring to see the personal connection to the Japanese American World War II experience through their young contemporary lens. And we also want to thank our generous supporters who sponsored 2 tables in memory of Kazuo and Mary Yamane for the journalism students and their guests. Kazuo Yamane served in the Military Intelligence Service, providing key translations for critical documents. Again, congratulations to you guys. This is our future. They will help tell this story, and they have huge brains. And thank you so much for your effort, everybody. Thank you very much. We are delighted to present a special performance celebrating the legacy of our Nisei veterans, featuring a cast of immensely talented individuals. Each performer has a deep personal connection to the Nisei veteran story or to the Go for Broke National Education Center. Jun Kurumoto is a world-renowned koto player from the iconic jazz band Hiroshima and an acclaimed koto sensei. Her uncle was a member of the 442nd who was killed in action during World War II. Kaze Jones is a Shin Nisei who, while not a direct relative, has embraced the Nisei veteran story and legacy. His commitment is expressed through his lyrical poetry. Kendall Sayuri Yokoyama is a Yonsei whose grandfather and granduncle served with the 442nd. She has just returned from starring in the national traveling production of Hamilton. Kendall was with us last year. She expressed her strong interest to be part of this year's gala, and we are delighted to have her back. She was amazing last year. She will be amazing again tonight. Lauren Kincaid Wong, you already heard her. She's incredible. Also a Yonsei with a beautiful voice that has graced her stage at numerous events at Aloha Galas. While she does not have a family member who served in World War II, she deeply appreciates the privileges that she has because of the Nisei veteran. She sang the national anthem earlier today, so you know how fantastic she can sing. And last but not least, Mr. Mitch Make. Don't worry, he's the president of Go for Broke. He's not singing, thank goodness. But he will share his perspective on the importance of this story, which he speaks so beautifully. He'll be a great part of this team. This exclusive performance brings together different generations and ages, descendants and allies alike, all united by their deep commitment to preserving the Nisei veterans' legacy. Jun, we're so looking forward to this. Why don't you start us off? Ladies and gentlemen, Jun Kurumoto.
I'm often asked, why do I care so much about the Japanese American experience? Why do I care so much about the forced exclusion and the incarceration? My family is from Hawaiʻi, and we weren't incarcerated. Why do I care so much about the Nisei veterans of World War II? My father was a decorated Korean War veteran, not a World War II veteran. And when I'm asked these questions, I think back to when I was in 5th grade. Yeah, that's me, about 10 years old. But that was also the time when I first learned about the Japanese American incarceration. I learned about how Japanese Americans were forcibly excluded and imprisoned in concentration camps. And I remember thinking, it couldn't have been people like me, like my mom, like my dad. It had to be the Japanese from Japan or something like that. And then I realized it did happen. Japanese Americans lost their homes, their jobs, their communities, but most of all, what was lost was a sense of place at the American table of citizenship. How? How could this happen in America to Americans? And I remember feeling devastated. And it was around that same time, though, that I started hearing about the 100th Battalion and the 442nd Regimental Combat Team. Nobody was talking about the MIS back then. I heard how they were heroes, the most highly decorated unit of their size in American military history. But truth be told, I couldn't believe those stories either, because it just didn't fit how Asian Americans, Japanese Americans were portrayed in the movies and on TV. I mean, hell, back then we were Hop Sing on Bonanza. We weren't military heroes. Imagine, you're 20 years old, you're male, you're imprisoned behind barbed wire. Your family has lost their home, their jobs, their communities, and their civil rights. And now the Army says, we want you to go and fight for liberty and justice halfway across the world. How many of you say, send me? Yet, 33,000 young Japanese American men and women, both from Hawaiʻi and from the mainland, would join the American military. Why? Why would these young men and women serve a nation that had treated them so poorly? For me, the best answer comes from a young Japanese American sergeant named Kazuo Masuda, who answered, because this is the only way that I know that my family can have a chance in America. They would go on to fight for the future of those they loved and those that they would never know. In a world at war, from a nation that distrusted them, from a present that had no promise of a future, our Japanese American soldiers created a legacy for the world to behold. Okage-sama de, because of them, we are.
Started February 7, 1942. I was sitting up in my living room just eating miso soup. Turned the dials up on the radio. Heard the awful news that the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, that we were doomed. All East is deemed enemies. The Nisei would do. The next generation of Japanese Americans were soon to be associated with the rising sun, that we were in cahoots. From the gardener, the mechanic, to the corporate wearing suits. Raiding our houses door to door, going one by one. We were robbed of our belongings, all surrounded by guns. Family crest torn down with the samurai swords, that then confiscated by the government, breaking in homes now. Relocated, split up to several lands issued by President Roosevelt into internment camps. How could a country that'll love a place that was born think of swore allegiance to the enemy, but they were wrong.
Our country, 'tis of thee, take away the pain and the misery.
Bullets fly outside, so we go for broke.
I was told I was born free, feel the storm over forest sea.
Bullets fly outside,
so we go for broke.
my family stuck in Manzanar, best friends in Hob Mountain, cause we were locked away from a country we weren't allowed in. But by the help of Secretary John McCloy, a specialized Nisei combat unit was to deploy the full 42nd Regiment, the 100th Battalion, a group of second generation Japanese that were civilian. We were shipped off to southern France to search the ones we lost. Gaddafi, but the Germans after enemy lines were crossed. They were covered by a dense fog, explosions of trees, bullets and heavy shrapnel, bringing soldiers to the knees. Boys fought for their own lives, and all those now deceased, so the family overseas could be respected as human beings. Tommy gun in one hand, grenade in the other. My right elbow was shut off by an enemy gunner. Got the native from my severed hand and threw it in the crowd. Took out heavy artillery, your boys advanced ground.
Our country, 'tis of thee, take away the pain and the misery.
Bullets fly outside, so we go for broke.
I was told I was born free, feel the storm over forest sea.
Bullets fly outside,
so we go for broke.
the 442 battled through Italy, France, and Germany. Joined with the 2nd and 100th Band convergently. Executed all of a mission order so perfectly, cause we bled from Purple Hearts with a sense of urgency. We were deemed 4C, that's enemy alien, degraded by your neighbors, no longer were Homo sapiens. United States shunned us out, we were forsaken, so we pushed through so many barriers that we planned to break it. Every fortification we conquered, it was a statement. The Nisei we go for broke, and we are patriots, yo, we fought against prejudice, and we are living proof of what no other group of people should ever go through.
Our country, 'tis of thee, take away the pain and the misery.
Bullets fly outside, so we go for broke.
I was told I was born free, feel the storm over forest sea.
Bullets fly outside, so we go for broke. Go for broke, 442.
All of a sudden, we get fire from up there in the trees. And they used what they call the 88 millimeter rifle. It was the anti-aircraft gun. Well, when it hit the tree, the artillery shell bursts like an umbrella and goes every direction. Not only that, but the shreds, the timber, and limbs from the trees would be cut, break, fall down. So you're getting hit by not only artillery shell, but the lumber. This is the bloodiest, I think, that the 442nd ever had.
So artillery shells. Now I hear this one coming in. Boom! Blew me up, and I was over there, 10 feet. I ached all over, and I got sores all. Looked like I got a nick here, but I looked down. Yohei Sagami from Wenatchee, Washington was talking. We were talking what we're going to do when we get out and this and that. He's laying down, face down. I picked him up, turned him over, and he got hit in the jugular vein here, and the pulse, blood was coming out. Every time his pulse beat, and I couldn't stop without choking him. And I tried to choke him, and I put a pad on there, but still he couldn't breathe. And I'd wait, and I had to relax it. But the blood was coming out. So medics came, but he died. He lost too much blood, he died. So that was one of my first buddy dying.
Nights we prayed with no proof anyone could hear. In our hearts a hopeful song we barely understood. Now we are not afraid, although we know there's much to fear. We were moving mountains long before we knew we could. Oh, yes, there can be miracles when you believe. Though hope is frail, it's hard to kill. Who knows what miracles you can achieve when you believe. Somehow you will when you believe. Oh, yeah. In this time of fear, when we're so often cruising day, hope seems like a summer bird too swiftly flown away. Yet now I'm standing here, my heart's so full I can't explain, seeking faith and speaking words I never thought I'd say. There can be miracles when you believe. When you believe. Though hope is frail, it's hard to kill. Who knows what miracles you can achieve when you believe. Somehow you will. You will when you believe.
After the war, America begins to change. The Army desegregates its units. Japanese immigrants are allowed to naturalize. Brown versus Board of Education says separate but equal is no longer the law of the land. And in 1959, Hawaii becomes a state. And the first Japanese American is elected to the U.S. House of Representatives, a 442nd veteran, Daniel K. Inouye. The civil rights movement and the women's rights movement fill the minds of Americans with the idea of what is equality. The anti-Vietnam War protests promote dissent as an American value. And the ethnic studies movement impassions young Japanese Americans to ask the question, what the hell happened during World War II? We knew so little about what our parents and our grandparents were so reluctant to talk about. We knew nothing about the sacrifices that the Japanese American soldiers of World War II had made so that we could enjoy the privileges that we had.
We're a group of people, Nisei soldiers, that didn't have to serve, but wanted to serve and did serve.
We should fight for our country, loyalty. My part was to protect my family if I could.
I just went into the volunteer office and
There was no second thought, no nothing.
When this recruiter came around and said that they would take us in, I was so dang happy because I thought now was a chance for us to prove that we were as good as anybody else.
That was my obligation. This is my country. And I called my wife. I said, we don't know where we're going to go. I don't know if I'm going to come back. And I hung up. And I cried. And I cried on my knees. How that one really digs into my heart. I just can't help that.
The future and the status of the Japanese American as first-class citizen was at stake, right? So we had to prove our loyalty.
When they play the Star Spangled Banner, I have a beat in my heart. I respect the song, our song, and our flag, and our country so much that I shed tears too.
If the younger generations consider things like liberty, freedom from tyranny, sufficiently precious, then I think that all the bleeding, the dying, and the suffering we went through would be worth it.
It wasn't until I was a sophomore in college that I really began to understand. I needed a course that would give me an easy A to help me with my faltering GPA. And I remember looking through the catalog of courses. Yeah, back then it was paper catalog, no online registration, no computers. And I came across a course called the Japanese American Experience. And I thought, this is it. I'm Japanese American. I have experiences. I'll just talk about myself and get an easy A. Oh, how wrong I was. And it changed my life. I learned about the exclusion. I learned about the incarceration. I learned about the soldiers of the 100th, 442nd, MIS, and the WACs. And the redress movement was going on. And it gave me the opportunity to participate in rallies and join candlelight marches and attend the commission hearings in Los Angeles. In fact, my claim to fame is that that red dot is my head. I'm in all the history books. But I sat in that spot and I witnessed members of our community finding the courage and the strength to tell their stories. I remember a woman from Poston who said, the stress of going into camp, the poor diet, the worry, hastened the death of my mother. She was 52 years old. She had to be cremated. There was no choice. My sorrow that I have to this day is that I could not put a fresh flower on her grave. All of her flowers were made of Kleenex. There was a gentleman by the name of Kiyoshi Sonoda. Kiyoshi Sonoda was a dentist, and he testified that because he had medical training, he was put in charge of the infirmary at his camp. And Dr. Sonoda described his first patient, a young, dehydrated infant. Dr. Sonoda said under normal circumstances, the right supplies and the right equipment, he would have been able to treat that baby and make him well. But because he didn't have the right supplies, because he didn't have the right equipment, all he could do was hold that infant in his hands and feel his last twitch before he died. And as Dr. Sonoda told that story, he had tears streaming down his face. And in the audience, his wife was sitting there and she said, "Kiyoshi is crying." Kiyoshi doesn't cry. Kiyoshi didn't even cry at his own father's funeral. But on that day, Dr. Sonoda did cry. And a room full, really a community full of Americans cried with him. The commission issued its findings in a publication entitled "Personal Justice Denied." And in it, it said that the camps were wrong, and that the camps were the result of race prejudice, war hysteria, and a failure of political leadership. And these words would lead to 5 years of intense lobbying in the halls of Congress, until finally on September 17th, 1987, the 200th anniversary of the signing of the Constitution, H.R. 442 was argued on the floor of the House of Representatives.
The real issue here today is an issue of fundamental principle. How could I, as a 6-month-old child, born in this country, be declared by my own government to be an enemy alien?
No hysteria. Franklin Roosevelt did the right thing, and if he hadn't done it, he would have been probably lynched.
When the Jews were freed from Dachau, it was the Japanese American 442 Regiment, the most decorated U.S. Army regiment in World War II, that threw open the gates while their relatives waited for them at home behind barbed wires.
Now we hear, however, the argument that unless we have an apology accompanied by money, the apology means nothing. I will be offering an amendment to knock out the individual reparations.
The men of the 442nd Regimental Combat Team fought fiercely, valiantly, and with great distinction because they believed in what they were fighting for.
The committee is asking us to purge ourselves of somebody else's guilt with another generation's money.
It is $2,863 in 1945 dollars. Certainly that amount of money is, if anything, too little, not too much.
I had the opportunity to witness the great heroism of the 442nd as it went into combat in Italy. It was a tremendous contribution to the war effort. And then, when I learned later, and especially as after I came to Congress and learned of the tragedy, it really appalled me.
I looked at Santa Clara Street from the train over the subway. I thought this might be the last look at my loved home city. My heart almost broke, and suddenly hot tears just came pouring out. And the whole family cried out. We could not stop until we were out of our loved county.
I will never forget the vision of fear in the eyes of Roland, my friend, and the pain of leaving home. My mother, as bright as she was, try as she may, could not explain to me why my friend was being taken away as he screamed not to go. And this 6-year-old black American child screamed back, "Don't take my friend." No one could help me understand that.
What we are about to do today, I hope, is an act of greatness for a nation.
The atonement we owe not to others, but to ourselves.
The bill passes. And 7 months later, it hits the floor of the U.S. Senate, and under the leadership of Senator Spark Matsunaga, a decorated war veteran from World War II, it passes the Senate. Now we need just one more supporter, one more signature.
President of the United States.
What is most important in this bill has less to do with property than with honor. For here we admit a wrong. Here we reaffirm our commitment as a nation to equal justice under the law. I wonder whether you'd permit me one personal reminiscence, one prompted by an old newspaper report sent to me by Rose Ochi.
General Stilwell has flown from Washington to the California farmhouse of the family of Kazuo Masuda, a Japanese American soldier who fell in action in Italy.
General Joseph W. Stilwell pinned the Distinguished Service Cross on Mary Masuda. You see, while Mary and her parents were in an internment camp, Kazuo served as staff sergeant to the 442nd Regimental Combat Team. In one action, Kazuo ordered his men back and advanced through heavy fire, hauling a mortar. For 12 hours, he engaged in a single-handed barrage of Nazi positions. Several weeks later, at Cassino, Kazuo staged another lone advance. This time, it cost him his life. After General Stilwell made the award, one young actor said, "Blood that has soaked into the sands of a beach is all of one color. America stands unique in the world, the only country not founded on race, but on an ideal. Not in spite of, but because of our polyglot background, we have had all the strength in the world. That is the American way." The name of that young, I hope I pronounced this right, was Ronald Reagan. And yes, the ideal of liberty and justice for all, that is still the American way. Thank you and God bless you, and now let me sign H.R. 442, so fittingly named in honor of the 442nd.
Today, 37 years after the passage of the Civil Liberties Act, we find our nation is in turmoil and deeply divided. Common ground is no longer sought, compromise a forgotten concept. And let us not forget the words of the late Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia, who said, "What happened to the Japanese Americans was wrong, but you are kidding yourself if you think it will never happen again. In times of war, the laws fall silent. In times of war, the laws fall silent." Very chilling words for any of us here tonight who cherish the Constitution and believe that we are a nation of laws.
I pray you'll be our eyes and watch us where we go, and help us to be wise in times when we don't know. Let this be our prayer. When we lose our way, lead us to a place, guide us with your grace, give us faith so we'll be saved. Ilama no mako, I pray we'll find your light and hold it in our heart.
Can we both make up
when stars go out each night?
Let this be our prayer.
Let this be our prayer.
When we lose our way,
when shadows fill our day,
lead us to a place.
Guide us with your grace.
Give us faith so we'll be safe.
A world where pain and sorrow will be ended, and every heart that's broken will be mended, and we'll remember we are all God's children, reaching out to touch you, reaching to the sky. We hope we ask that life be kind and watch us from above. We hope each soul will find another soul to love. Let this be our prayer. Let this be our prayer.
Just like every child.
Just like every child. Need to find a place. Guide us with your grace. Give us faith so we'll be safe. Need to find a place. Guide us with your grace. Give us faith so we'll be safe.
Tonight, we remember the Japanese American soldiers of World War II, their courage to fight for what was right, their loyalty, not to a political party, not to an administration, but to the ideals of equality and equal justice under the law, to their service to each other, their service to their families, and their service to each person in this room here tonight. Thank you. Thank you for joining Go for Broke National Education Center as we celebrate the gift that our veterans gave to us. As they fought to create a better tomorrow, it is now our turn, our responsibility to ensure a better future for the next generations. Okage-sama de. Because of them we are, because of them we will continue to be.
They don't always happen when you ask, and it's easy to give in to your fears.
But when you're blinded by your pain, can't see your way through the rain,
A small but still resilient voice
says hope is very near.
Y'all did it. Y'all did it. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jeff Maloney. I'm the Vice Chair of the Go for Broke Board of Directors. I will not be singing tonight.
And my name is Kendra Motoyasu, and I'm the National Torchbearers Chair. I also serve on the Board of Directors with Jeff.
So, Kendra, look around this room. We have over 500 people gathered here to celebrate the incredible story of the Nisei veterans of World War II. It's a really special night, not just because of the number of people here, but because we're in the presence of true icons, true heroes of World War II, in Mary and Toke, and the youngster of the group, Ed. So let's hear it for them one more time tonight. And like many of you here tonight, each evening of Aloha is special to me and my family. My great uncle, Harley Yoshimura, served in the 442 Anti-Tank Division, which famously helped to rescue the Lost Battalion. He passed away in 2022, but we still remember his determination, his courage, and his sort of quiet sense of humor. And I know that if he were here tonight, he would really appreciate the extent of the Go for Broke spirit and how far that it's come. And as we've heard, in these troubling times with so much going on in the world, it's comforting to know that this is one of the stories that resonates across every American, regardless of background.
I agree. The most rewarding part about being a torchbearer is seeing people and young people relate to this 80-year-old story. They understand that this is the story of children of immigrants. They have seen themselves, their families struggle in dreaming for a better life here in America. One trip that I'll never forget is when I went to San Francisco with the torchbearers. We toured Angel Island, and as I walked through those halls, I saw painted layers and layers over and over Russian, Chinese, Japanese etchings, poems for freedom. And I was reminded that we are all connected by these echoes of history. And now with these headlines, we are seeing history repeat itself.
Yeah. Kendra, what you said and what the torchbearers are doing is so important and so poignant, especially in this moment in time. And you know, for a long time, I've been on the Go for Broke board, and for many years I was considered the young person. I don't think I am anymore. But I'm really encouraged by what the torchbearers are doing, because actually young people are leading us into the future. So you're not just honoring the past, you are a beacon for the next generation. And that next generation includes people like my kids. One of them is here tonight. Say hi, Koji. So thank you for that. Thank you for leading them.
That means so much, and it fills me with so much joy, because it's true. This program, this work has expanded larger than I ever could have dreamed of. Across the nation, torchbearers are uniting communities. We're having hard conversations. We're talking about how afraid we are, but we're also sharing solutions. And this history has served us as a beacon for hope, that when we fight, we can win something bigger and better. And now, with the building of the Go for Broke Plaza, we will finally, after 36 years, have a permanent home in Little Tokyo.
It's so exciting, but it's not just that. As important as that is, this is one of the few times in my lifetime I can remember that our community has been able to expand Little Tokyo to reclaim a historic part of our neighborhood. And that's also exciting. But if we step back and we look at 2025, it's a tough year. There's chaos in the world, and it's been really difficult for fundraising. At a moment where our message should be carried across the country, we are at risk of losing momentum. But this is where you come in. With your help, we can make sure that our efforts continue on for the foreseeable future. Now, I know you've heard about the envelopes multiple times tonight. I've fortunately seen many people filling theirs out already. But please, you've been staring at it, it's been staring at you. Now's your chance, right, to really make sure that you help support us into the future. And if you've already done one of those already, Please, don't worry, we got plenty. You can do another one. If we've inspired you, if Mitch, who wanted to sing tonight but didn't, if he inspired you, please feel free to put another one in there.
Absolutely. Every gift you make tonight is more than just a donation. It's fuel. Fuel to keep our programs alive. Fuel to help the next generation pick up the torch. Fuel to remind this country what honor, sacrifice, and fighting for hope, not hate, truly looks like.
So we're not going to keep you here for a long time. We're just going to ask nicely and leave it at that. But on behalf of our board, our veterans, our Go for Broke family, and everyone here tonight, thank you for your support. Thank you for being here. We really appreciate it.
And you've all just seen the amazing slideshow, and maybe when you're looking at me, you think maybe I'm not too much older than they were when they answered the ultimate call to action. And so right here, this moment, this is your crossroads. I'm answering the call by being here, and I invite you all to answer the call and fill out those envelopes. Please support us and protect the future. Thank you and good night.
Huge thank you to Jeff and Kendra for sharing some of their personal perspectives and how we all can make a positive difference. These projects are huge. I hope that you will agree that this has been an exciting and meaningful evening. So many things have happened tonight. So let me also acknowledge our dedicated staff and volunteers that made our gala such an exceptional event tonight. Don't you agree? It was absolutely wonderful. And on behalf of the Nisei veterans with us and for those who remain in our hearts, we thank all of our sponsors, our donors, and of course you, our guests. The 100th Battalion, 442nd Infantry Regiment Honor Guard will now retire the colors, followed by June and Kendall closing the 24th annual evening of Aloha Gala with a touching rendition of God Bless America. Please be safe and well and enjoy the end of this program. Now the color guard.
Spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for heroes proved in liberating strife, who more than self their country loved, and mercy more than light. America, America, may God thy gold refine, till all success be nobleness, and every gain divine. Deep